Let's come to order. I'd like to call this March 11, 2021 Dickson County Planning Commission meeting to order. I would also like to remind the audience this is a public meeting. It is not a public hearing, so we cannot take any questions or comments from the audience. Mr. Berry, can I get you to give devotion, please? Mr. Berry. Can we all turn our mics on when we speak into them, please? Mr. Darnell, would you call roll?
Todd Berry.
Here.
Robert Witherow.
Here.
Jeff Spencer.
Here.
Mac Pilkington.
Here.
Robert Qualls.
Here.
David Brogdon.
Here.
Harold Williams.
Here.
Shane Chandler.
Here.
Christy Sullivan.
Here.
Wayne Durham.
Here.
Robert Comer.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to recognize our new board members, Jeff Spencer and Christy Sullivan. I also would like to recognize the visitors in the crowd, and there should be a podium out in the hallway. If you have not signed in, please do so as you exit. We'll move into the minutes. Everybody looked over the minutes of the previous meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, there needs to be a correction to minute.
Okay, Mr. Berry, you wish to withdraw?
I do, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Qualls.
Mr. Chairman, the vote on approval of that place on Highway 47 in White Bluff was not unanimous.
Okay. I overlooked that as well. Do we happen to have a?
That wasn't unanimous vote. I know. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's not what the minute said. Yes.
Mr. Qualls, do you happen to have the correct count by chance, or?
I think we're coming up with it back here. I'm convinced that, that both, Mr. Berry opposed it and as did I, due to the sewage running into that pond.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll correct it. Yep.
Outside of that correction, we will represent that probably next month. Is there anything else that needs to be fixed?
Not that I'm aware of, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Berry, do you wish to turn that into a motion excluding that item?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a proper motion by Todd Berry, proper second by Robert Qualls with the corrections. All in favor, go to a roll call vote.
Todd Berry.
Yes.
Robert Witherow.
Yes.
Jeff Spencer.
Yes.
Mac Pilkington.
Yes.
Robert Qualls.
Yes.
David Brogdon.
Yes.
Harold Williams.
Yes.
Shane Chandler.
Yes.
Christy Sullivan.
Yes.
Wayne Durham.
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move into the items. Item number 1 is preliminary plat of Elizabeth Acres subdivision, tax map 106, part of parcel 59.02, 14.37 acres, McElhaney Road, Dixon, Tennessee, A1 Agriculture, 2nd District. This was tabled from last month.
Yes, this preliminary plat, which was deferred from the February 11th, 2021 meeting, requests the approval to create 14 new lots. It was surveyed by Excel Land Company. There was a lot of discussion on this plat, including the extension of the 6-inch existing water line and the placement of 3 new fire hydrants. At this point, we have not received any confirmation of the sureties from Sylvia Tennessee City Pond Water District I know Mr. Collins has some other comments on it.
Mr. Chairman, in light of the tabling of the plat from last month, I went ahead for our March staff comments and repeated nearly the same comments as I had last month. The one addition that I made to this was pertaining to site visibility concerns with driveway placement. I had vocalized those verbally at last month's meeting. For the staff comments tonight, I merely added that as line item E on the under plat issues. But other than that, my comments are still the same.
Okay. What is the will of the board? We have to take some action on this.
Mr.
Shane,
Chandler,
can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Whitterow.
They ain't got no,
Hang on.
Mr. Chairman,
okay.
it's by, recommendation of, legal counsel, because I have purchased part of that property, earlier, that it appears that I may have a conflict, and so, therefore I need to, recuse myself from, this item and pass on any action.
Okay, I have, Robert Whitterow, who represents the second district, has to, recuse himself from the vote of this item. So, Mr. Pilkington, did you have a comment?
Yeah, if they ain't got no water, we can't approve them.
This is just preliminary.
This is just
Okay,
preliminary.
well,
They have to have it by the final.
that's fine. As long as it comes back with water, it'll be fine.
As far as the site distance goes, we're eradicating all the foliage 50 foot from the edge of the road back, so we're increasing the site distance.
Yeah. Mr. Brogdon?
Mr. Chairman, since last meeting, it's been brought to my attention that I've represented and currently represent one of the partners involved in the application here, and I will have to recuse myself.
Okay, thank you for the information, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may,
Mr.
I'd like
Coleman?
to, talk a little bit about this plat and explain, starting off by, when we continue a matter, we should really give a better explanation than I gave for why I supported the continuance. And I've spoken to Mr. Pate a couple times on the phone, explained to him why I continued, but I'd like to say on the record that the reason why I voted to continue is that I had a couple of things I wanted to check for myself to satisfy myself on this plat before I could cast a vote on a yay or nay. Those things regarded the concern that was expressed last month over the triangle lots. Although it was said last month that those lots are legally permissible, I wanted to satisfy myself on that matter. I also wanted to satisfy myself that a non-contiguous subdivision where two lots are not contiguous to the other lots had a justification that warranted it, because both the triangle lots, while I have satisfied myself they are legal, and I satisfied myself that in Tennessee non-contiguous subdivisions are also legal, but there's good reasons for both of them, and I am now satisfied as to those two concerns. The other concern I had, which I didn't mention last month, but I have spoken to Mr. Pate about, and that has to do with the potential of re-subdivision of the remaining parcels, which is mentioned in the staff report. That triggers section 1-108.2 of our subdivision regulations, and gives the commission the discretion to require some layout of future roadways primarily for those re-subdivided lands. The applicant has told me that they're not intending to re-subdivide the remainder, but instead do larger lots. So I'm satisfied that 1-108.2 is not an applicable situation that we need to bring to forth on this case. For all of those reasons, I'm now satisfied with this subdivision, and I'm willing to support it. And if there's no further discussion, I move that we approve the subdivision with the conditions of the staff report, particularly the condition that prior to a final map, they would have to get the sureties and the water sureties that we need.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the preliminary plat of Elizabeth Estate subdivision by Robert Comer.
I'll
I'll
second.
second, Mr. Chairman, based on the grounds that Mr. Comer gave. I think there were members of this body that had legitimate concerns about what's going on there, but I think that, as Mr. Comer has so eloquently stated, they meet all the requirements of the current subregs that we have. So I feel the board should approve this. Now, if we want to make some changes to that, that's a different matter for a different meeting. And I strongly recommend that this body give approval to the preliminary plat of Elizabeth Acres.
Okay, I have a proper motion by Robert Comer, a proper second by Robert Qualls, that this be approved with the staff comments. Any further discussion? If not, we'll go into a roll call vote, please.
Todd Berry,
Yes.
Jeff Spencer,
Yes.
Mike Pilkington, Robert Qualls,
Yes.
Harold Williams,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Christy Sullivan,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Chairman, motion carries.
Thank you, sir. We'll move into item number 2, final plat of Merle Acres subdivision, Section B, tax map 145, part of parcels 16.00 and 16.18, 4.71 acres, Abiff Road, Bonacqua, Tennessee, R1 Residential 6 District.
All right, this final plat of Merle Acres subdivision is Section B that requests the approval of 9 new lots. As you look at the plat, this would be listed as lots 9 through 20. This was surveyed by Christie Surveying, and all lots are zoned R1. They are served by city water and sewer. Mr. Collins?
All right, since we discussed this under a preliminary plat very sufficiently, and the surveyor has added all the comments that were raised under a preliminary plat, the only thing that's lacking on this final plat's the necessary signatures.
Okay. 6th District, I believe that's you, Mr. Brogdon.
I see no problem with it, and I move to accept it with the staff comments, please.
Okay, have a proper motion by David Brogdon to approve this with staff comments. Do I
I'll second that.
have a second by Harold Williams? Any further discussion? If not, we'll move into a roll call vote.
Todd Berry,
Yes.
Robert Witherow, Jeff Spencer,
Yes.
Mike Pilkington, Robert Qualls,
Yes.
David Brogdon,
Yes.
Harold Williams,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Christy Sullivan,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Chairman, motion carries.
Thank you, sir. We'll now move into item number 3, amended final plat of lots 1 and 2 of Phase 2 of the Reva Sharp property. Tax map 133, part of parcel 6.04, 5.73 acres, White Road, Bonacqua, Tennessee, A1 Agriculture. It's also the 6th District.
Okay, this amended final plat of the Reba Sharp property subdivision adjusts the lot lines between lots 1 and 2. The original Phase 2 subdivision was approved at the January 14th, 2021 meeting. This was surveyed by XO Land Company. Mr. Collins?
Let's see, Mr. Darnell had mentioned that the purpose of this plat is to adjust the lot line between lots 1 and 2. It appears to staff that the lot line adjustment will be located a little bit closer to the existing residence that's on lot 2. According to what I noticed here with the existing septic system that is a curvature line behind the existing structure, it looks like moving this lot line brings it that much closer to the septic system. And of course, I was unable to determine exactly how close this new lot line would be to that septic system. The state's requirements on septic systems specifies a minimum distance of 10 feet for a septic system to be from a property line. So, if that, if Mr. Merle can confirm that this property line adjustment for Lot 2 will clear that minimum 10 feet, then that would be satisfactory in staff's opinion as far as that particular item. Under letter C for drainage, our regulations do require a minimum 10 feet wide public utility and drainage easement along side property lines to minimize any storm drainage issues. There are 2 existing dwellings on this on the property with separate driveways, so it's the ditching for suitable drainage needs along the frontage should be certainly beneficial to this development. Other than that, the bullet items that I had, just all necessary signatures are necessary to be on the plat as part of the Planning Commission's approval. That could very well be a contingent approval. Adding the easements, utility and drainage easements. Of course, a very minor issue. I just noticed down in the bottom right corner, the date of this amended plat is an older date than the previous plat's December 20 date. So it was just it's probably just an oversight that can easily be corrected on the plat before it's recorded. Other than that, just a recommended notation that a note of this amended plat superseding the previously recorded plat. That we very similar to notation number 2 that was on the January plat that we approved. But Mr. Chairman, that's all the comments I got.
Okay, thank you.
Can we address that?
Yes, please, Mr. Merle.
Obviously, the plat that you have is not the plat that they have at the planning commission. Just the lot that's in question is lot 1 and 2, not 2 and 3. We're moving the line for lot 1 and the common line between lot 1 and 2. So that's.
Did I say lot 3?
Yeah, you said 3. Yeah,
Sorry about that.
the septic system's been approved for lot 2 and 3. It's been approved by TDEC, so it's in place. We're not changing that side.
Right, correct.
But all the signatures are on the plat, and I think they actually have the Mylar and planning and zoning. So you must have an old PDF copy.
The lot line change actually. The lot line change actually makes lot 2 slightly larger, correct? Okay.
The owner wanted more property with lot 2.
Hey, Robert. All right, let me put you back on. Did you all receive a corrected plat?
We've got one done. We'll have to check, make sure all the notes are correct and the date's correct on it.
It's just chatter.
Okay. What is the will of the board?
With Mr. Merle's comments, does that change staff comments for recommendation to the board?
Looks like this morning I was looking at a plan. I must have just had one of those moments where I'm trying to think back.
So we have all the
How's those days?
we have all the signatures. The septic is satisfactory to staff, and we don't have any issues as far as we know at this point. Then I would move to accept it as presented.
Okay, have a motion by David Brogdon to approve amended final plat of lots 1 and 2, phase 2 of Reba Sharp property. And I will second that. Any further discussion? No further discussion. We'll give a roll call vote, please.
Todd Berry,
Yes.
Robert Witherow,
Yes.
Jeff Spencer,
Yes.
Mac Pilkington, Robert Qualls,
Yes.
David Brogdon,
Yes.
Harold Williams,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Christy Sullivan,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We do have an additional item that come in a little bit late. We're gonna move into other business, and it's the partial road closure for Westcott Road at Camp Leatherwood. Mr. Darnell?
I've handed out, I think everybody got one of these. If not, I do have some more. This come in, and if you see some figures on there, what they're this is a request for a partial road closure. This would be about 327 feet or 6/100ths of a mile in front of the entrance to the Leatherwood Church Camp. They want to install a new gate at the edge of the property. Now, the highway department has talked to them. They've required that the camp would have to build a turnaround in front of this. And it had to be up to the standards of the highway department, and then when it was all said and done, it would be dedicated to the county as part of the road system. The county's attorneys asked that you would vote on it to send it to the work session for the county commission.
Okay. We have our road person here. If anybody has any questions for him.
Well, this is kind of light on detail, so I'm just having a hard time. I'd like to at least get an idea of what part of what road.
Mr. Hodges, would you like to come up and explain, please, sir?
This thing on? Westcott Road is a dead-end road, and it dead ends at Camp Leatherwood. And where the previous gate was, there was a portion of it that was, the camp previously had a turnaround down closer to the building, and they're wanting to take that portion of the road off. So with doing that, we've asked them to build a turnaround where they're gonna put this gate at, and then the portion that they're wanting to take off will go back to private property of the camp.
Okay, and I know this is a small drawing, but the Westcott Road, the road you're talking about, is within this highlighted property, right?
No.
No, it goes-
See, that's you know, that's the kind of,
Right.
if we need to act on something, that's the kind of, we need some more, I think we need some more information.
The highlighted property is the camp itself.
Okay.
No.
No,
No, that's
This
the
is the
neighbor.
road.
You'll see a mark
This is
on
where the
there.
current gate is. They
Yeah.
want to put it here and put a turnaround here. Or they want
Yeah, 2921 and 2922 are the camp property.
Mm-hmm.
The highlighted area, that's the neighbor, the only neighbor that adjoins anything there. The camp is wanting to move the gate down to the property line. The camp actually will own everything beyond that gate at that point.
Okay,
Chandler.
thank you.
Mr. Chandler, I'm inclined to agree with my colleague. Not that I disagree that they should be able to put a gate and a turnaround and all those things, but I'd be a lot more comfortable if I could see even a relatively simple design that shows how far away from the neighbor's property will the turnaround be and where the gate will be. And in my experiences, it's more common to get some kind of design of this road closure and turnaround before we pass it up to the county commission. And looking at the numbers that are handwritten on an email, I don't want to, I'm just not comfortable with kind of proceeding on so little information. And I don't think we discharge our responsibilities to the community to do it this way. And certainly the county commission could require it, and they could rectify this problem up there, but you know, we're required to do our jobs here. So I'm with my colleague. I'm a little uncomfortable with, not with the concept. The concept I certainly is fine, but certainly with what we're presented, we really don't know. We can't know clearly what we're approving. And our job is to represent everybody, including that neighbor, and make sure that the design is considerate to that neighbor, which I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but I don't have any basis to say it will be. So I'm not comfortable at this point.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouth by no means, but the church camp burned a while back and it was rebuilt. And there's been a lot of, so say, excitement about going down to see what they've done. So they've been closing the gate, so currently there is no turnaround. So the bus doesn't have anywhere to turn around but in a neighbor's driveway, and the, you know, in the event of a fire or something, a fire truck can't even turn around. So I think the church is probably moving toward a good thing, and I certainly understand where you all are coming from about wanting to see it clear, because I didn't see it that clearly either till it was shown to me.
Mr. Chairman, I would add one thing to that. If, you know, the lack of information, to add to Mr. Comer's points, if there's any public utilities or anything, because I think we would need to recommend closure of the road, but to retain easements if needed.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if the email is from council, it's suggested in there that there would need to be surveyed anyway to do the turnaround, so I think we're premature in voting on closing the road without some type of survey giving us what the turnaround should look like.
I don't know that we're actually voting to do that. We're voting whether to send it on to the county commission or not is the only action. We don't have the ability to close the road.
I'm just reading the
Right.
council's comment that says likely it would need to go through the planning commission so they could sign off on. Prior to that, it mentioned that it would have to be surveyed, so that's
Okay.
kind of where I was basing it on.
If that is the will of the board, we'll pass it on to the county commission.
I hate to belabor a point, but from our own county's lawyer, one of them, he stated, this will likely need to go through the planning commission so they can sign off on the plan and then make the recommendation to the county, et cetera. I just, this with a couple of marks on a piece of paper, I don't think that's a plan. I wouldn't call it a plan.
Right. Mr. Potter, you wish to add anything?
I've not reviewed this, Mr. Chairman, but I would think it would probably require approval by this body, so I think if you're uncomfortable with it, ask for it, that's fine.
We can either, as Mr. Potter said, we can either table it and ask for a more detailed plat, or, I just need a direction from the board to.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's wise that we do that. I move that we table this till next month and that we ask for a better plan so that we can act on it.
I second that motion.
Mr. Potter, can we table this and ask for a better plan, or do we have to deny it and ask for a better plan? Okay. Okay, I have a proper motion by Todd Berry to table this and a proper second. Was that you, Mr. Comer? Yes, sir. Okay, we'll take a roll call vote on the table of this item if there's no further discussion.
Todd Berry,
Yes.
Robert Witherow,
Yes.
Jeff Spencer,
Yes.
Mike Pilkington,
Yes.
Robert Qualls,
Yes.
David Brogdon,
Yes,
Harold Williams,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Christy Sullivan,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Chairman, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We do have one more item. We just received our final draft of the traffic impact study guidelines for Dixon County. If
We're
you
not
wa-
gonna put that on the meeting that we're gonna have, that's just for your review for everybody that's in the,
That's right. If we just review, everybody review it and be ready to take action next month, just wanted to bring it to your attention. Homework.
yes.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, those traffic study guidelines, if anyone wants a Word copy of that, that's a hard copy. If you want me to email anyone a Word document, to make sure.
I printed them off for them, so they actually got hard copies.
Okay, the next scheduled meeting will be April the 8th, 2021, here in the courthouse. Motion to adjourn?